YouTube and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I thought I would bring the camera along and make one of my husband's favorite cakes, an apple cake. Kind of an apple cinnamon cake, if you will. There's caramel involved. I'm going to use my caramel cream cheese frosting because caramels and apples, I think they were made for each other. Anyways, let's get right on into this apple cake recipe. I have 4 apples that I have peeled, or I've cored, peeled, and finely chopped. Well, kind of just a rough dice, really. I'm using a Golden Delicious simply because that's what my grocery store had, and I actually like the way a Golden Delicious apple bakes up. I have 2 cups of sugar. Yep, that's a lot of sugar. I'm making a cake. This is not a healthy recipe. It's one of those taste good ones. I'm just gonna simply stir my apples around in that sugar, get it all nice and coated. I know my apples are kind of on the larger side as far as their dice, but I like it when you can like bite into an apple. All right, I have a half of a cup of vegetable oil. And I have 2 eggs that are just kind of loosely beaten. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm hoping I have enough. I have a backup, but let's see what I can get out of this guy. All right. Mix those up real quick. These are kind of considered our wet ingredients, then we'll move over to the dry ingredients. I'm not gonna sift the flour this time simply because there's a lot of wet ingredients involved in here and I'm okay with not having a delicate cake. Okay, move this aside and then we'll start working on our dry ingredients. I have, sorry, I was looking for my flour. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I have a half of a teaspoon of baking soda, which I just kind of combined. Less dishes, right? And then I also have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then I have, how much salt? It's 1 teaspoon of salt. Sorry, I have this all written down. There's quite a few ingredients in here and I do not have this memorized at all. I'm just gonna grab my whisk, whoops, mix these together, just until combined. Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of half of it, put that in with my wet ingredients, mix a little bit. I have my blender out. I haven't made this cake in a few years, guys. So I'm not sure if I used a blender to mix this because of the apples. I don't think I did. I think I just mixed it by good old-fashioned elbow grease. I do have my metal spoon here in case this gets too difficult for the plastic. And add the last half. There we go, we're coming together. If I remember right, this is a very moist cake. I haven't made this. I don't think we've made this since I moved to this house. I should apologize to my husband because he really likes this cake. All right, I think I need my metal spoon. It's getting a little too tedious. All right, now I should be able to get stuff done. This is almost like, oh, I don't even know, maybe like a coffee cake. It ends up looking like an actual cake, so don't fear. Oh, this does take some elbow grease, guys, but it's worth it, I promise you. This tastes like fall, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. The temps outside lately have been, oh my gosh, 90s. Doesn't feel like fall outside, but I'm starting to slowly but surely get my fall decorations out. It's gonna look like fall in here regardless if it feels like it out there or not. Okay. I also have 1 cup of walnuts that I have given a fine chop to, just kind of in my baby food processor. Now what I measure the walnuts first, like as when they're whole, and then as a cup, and then I put them in the food processor. So not a cup that's been chopped, but like a cup of whole walnuts, and then you chop the walnuts. And we're just gonna kind of stir that in. I feel like this needs more vegetable oil. Sometimes flour is finicky. I'm gonna add maybe a capful or 2 more of vegetable oil. And if your flour is drier too, sometimes the moisture in the air can really mess with you. And we've had the air on for quite a few days in a row, so it's probably not a whole lot of moisture in the air. There we go. Now we're getting this better. Just to loosen it up some. This is real life. Sometimes this is what you have to do in order to make deliciousness. Okay. All right, these are pretty well stirred. I'm gonna go get my pans and I will bring you back to put them in the pans. All right, I've mixed this up. I realized what I did wrong. I totally skipped over where I'd written down 1/4 cup of milk. Much better, more like cake consistency. I'm telling you, I haven't made this cake in a few years and it shows. All right, now I've also got 2 9-inch cake tins that I have greased and floured pretty liberally. I don't want my cake to stick in there. I want it to come out all pretty for that YouTube thumbnail. I'm gonna try to, evenly as I can, distribute the cake mix into each of my pans as carefully as I can. Make sure I get a good amount of apples and walnuts in each cake. All right, we're looking good, looking pretty even. Gonna get all of that cake batter right into those cakes. There we go. Messy, messy. All right, I am going to put these in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. I will kind of check it with a butter knife or a toothpick about the 35-minute mark, just because I don't want these guys to burn. I want them to turn out real nice. But if you find that your cakes aren't quite done in the middle, leave them in for about 5 to 10 minutes longer. You know, always kind of checking with that toothpick. That's kind of the only way to really tell if those cakes are done in the middle. All right, I will bring you back when these guys come out of the oven. All right, I am back. My cakes have cooled on the countertops in the pans for about 10 minutes. I did want to make a note that when I pulled them out of the oven, I gently kind of just went around the edges with a knife just to loosen them so that way they don't stick. And essentially your goal is that they won't break apart while they're cooling. I'm just gonna take one of the cakes And I've already gone around the edges, but well, that was when they came out of the oven, so I'll go around one more time just to make sure we're kind of loose from the edges. And the goal is that they will pop right out of the pan, which I did get a little bit, but that's all right. That's gonna be covered with frosting. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just gonna bring it back over. I've got a cooling rack here. I'm just gonna let it cool on the rack until it comes right to room temperature. And I should make a note that these were in the oven for a total of 40 minutes. You can see I kind of poked them with a knife around the 35-minute mark and again at the 40-minute, just to make sure they were nice and cool. Yep, that one came right out. None in the pan, which is exactly what we want. And I'm just gonna let these cool. This one's kind of flopping over the edge here, so we'll probably give it its own rack. That's all right. Okay, I'm gonna let these cool right down to room temperature, and then I will bring you back when it's time to put the frosting on. All right, guys, I am back. My cakes have completely cooled to room temperature. I have to admit, okay, if I was making this professionally or maybe even for a friend to give away, I would have I actually have, hold on, a wonderful cake like spinner. I don't know what they're called professionally. And I would frost my cake on one of those. However, to do that, to lift it up off of the trivet, you need a cardboard like underpiece. Years ago when I worked at a bakery, we had like these cardboard circular cutouts, and that way you can actually lift the cake off of that and put that in a box or on a cake stand. It makes it easier to decorate. I know my sister made a beautiful cake once, and she called me and she goes, okay, now how do I get it from my plate that I've been decorating on to a Tupperware container to give it away? She was gonna give it away to a lady she goes to church with. And I said, well, you need one of those circular cutouts. Now I'm at home. This is for me and my husband. We're gonna enjoy this tonight for supper, or a snack, dessert after supper. Stuff like that. So it's just me, and I feel like most of the people watching are probably just enjoying this for themselves at home, and they're not really doing this professionally. So we're gonna do it old school home style. I have my first cake, and again, I would cut off the imperfect parts to make my cake level. But like I said, this is for home. I'm not too worried about making it perfect. Besides, that's some good cake, and I don't want to waste that cake. I have some cream cheese, caramel cream cheese frosting that I made a day or two ago, and I will link the recipe for that in the description box below. And I'm just gonna dollop a decent amount on and smooth it out. This part takes minutes, not even that really. We're just trying to get some good frosting in the middle, kind of stick the two layers together. This will definitely look like a cake that Mom or Grandma made, and that's all right. Sometimes those look like the best cakes anyways. Now to kind of up it a notch, I have some caramel that I made in a previous video, and again I will link that in the description box below for all those who would like to make their own caramel. But of course, if you don't have the time to make that caramel, that's all right. Go ahead and just buy the stuff you get at the store. We're just gonna drizzle that caramel right in that middle layer. I don't know, caramels and apples to me, that's fall, and I just feel like they really go together. Who doesn't like carameled apples? I feel like this is almost better because I love carameled apples, but they're not exactly easy to eat. All right, that looks good to me. I have my second layer, and I'm gonna put kind of imperfect sides together. So I'm just gonna flip it right over, set it right on top, and kind of just press it down so that way your frosting kind of sticks and holds it together. All right, I'm gonna get set up for the next part and I will show you how I'm gonna decorate my cake. All right, I've got my lovely layered cake here. And I'm just going to put a spoonful or two of frosting right on the top. And I'm gonna use my, oh, I don't even know what you call this. My best friend got me a cake kit not too long ago, or one of my best friends. I have two. And I'm just going to smooth it out as best I can. I'm not looking for professionalism here. I'm looking for coverage. Okay. Now I do have one of these smoothers. I'm just gonna smooth it out. Any excess will go right back in my frosting. I'm just kind of make a crumb layer, if you will. Whoa. I almost went and dropped it. All right, that looks good to me. See, I've got caramel coming out the side. That's all right. I'm just gonna take my excess and go right along the edge. If I need a little bit more, a little bit less, I can kind of got my bowl here of frosting. Kind of put it on the edge so it kind of goes over, but I can control it with my scraper here. Okay. Like I said, this is literally a crumb coat. It's like the first layer, so that way your pretty layer sticks. It is easier with one of those turnstiles. Much easier. I would recommend them. But if you don't have one, just a regular cake plate will work. Looking for coverage. Not really pretty here. Okay. Now, once you're completely covered, I'm gonna go ahead and use my smoother to kind of smooth out the edges as best I can. And then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for at least an hour so it kind of stiffens up a little bit. And then I'll go back in with the pretty layer of frosting. So I will see you for that next step. Alright guys, I have let my cake sit up in the refrigerator self-admittedly overnight. I got busy doing other things. That's alright. I'm just going to speed up the process and show you how I finished decorating this cake. Alright guys, that is my caramel apple cake. You can see I put walnuts, crushed walnuts on top. drizzled it with some caramel. I will link that recipe down below. I'm by no means a cake decorator, and certainly the little bit of experience I've had, I've been out of practice for quite a while. But this is gonna taste wonderful. My husband and I are gonna enjoy it for after dinner tonight, and probably give some leftovers for him to take to work tomorrow. If you guys liked today's video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you like what I do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.